morning. Good morning, good morning. Wow, what a morning. This is the first time, and I was sitting here thinking about it. I believe it's been 14 years since I've had to do two services on a Sunday. Okay? Can I just sneak out the side door here, please? Okay? Yeah. I'm really fast on my feet, just in case you didn't know that. Yes, this is always a return for me. You know, there's that theme in our life is very powerful. The return to, the remembrance of what has helped to get us where we are today. We need that continual reminder of all the help that we have received along the way. And I can tell you, as an ordained Unity minister that's been in 70 different Unity churches, not as the minister, okay, but I visited 70 different Unity churches. And really, Columbine Unity is a very, very, very unique and special place. You need to know that, okay? This just doesn't happen very often, the beauty and the gifts that are right here in this Unity community. So thank you to everyone who contributes to this ongoing work of the divine right here, right now. Though I'm just taking it in for a moment. Just being here, being present, wanting to make a connection with you today in some way so that you truly will take something away with you today. That will be a gift that will live with you for a long time, and you will find it irresistible in terms of wanting to pass it on to someone else. Some gift you received here today. It could be the music, something that's happened here today, the prayers, the meditation. It's just a rare opportunity to be in this environment, in the world we find ourselves in today. Would you agree? Absolutely. Can we just live here and hang out here? Can we just build a village around this church here and call it Unity Columbine Spiritual Village? You know, it's like the second Unity Village. How many here have actually been to our world headquarters at Unity Village, by the way? Okay, good for you. I've been in Unity churches where no one raised their hand. They've never been there. I actually lived there for 2 years back in 1985, 86, 87. And it is an enormously special place on the planet. Get your butts to Unity Village. Excuse me. Okay. I give myself permission to do this because, I only come here once a year or so. These past 4 to 5 months, how have you been doing, by the way, these past 4 to 5 months, all right? I just realized that when I said it out loud. I wasn't going to say that, but yeah. For me personally, I've really been experiencing a whittling away of my armor. My ego's tenacious stranglehold that it's had on me in this life. And honestly, that goes back to when I was 2 and 3 years old. I became very aware of that. In fact, here about 4 months ago, I was with a very close friend who also happens to be a gifted therapist. I asked him for 2 hours. And in that experience, I'm going to keep it short, the experience I had with him, he facilitated me to have a direct encounter with my 2 to 3 year old boy that I'd never done. I've danced around that and danced around that and danced around that. I've had direct encounters with the issues of my life and the people, the adults that created the challenges that I've had, but I've never had a direct encounter with my little boy. And I did that day. I was able to be fully present with such tenderness, such unconditional love for this little boy, this 2 to 3 year old who went through some very difficult experiences. And I had never felt that in my life before. Okay? I think we can relate to this. The manifestation was I felt that there was something wrong with me, not quite right. Even when standing in front of people like this in Unity churches, which I've done hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times, something wasn't quite right. And what wasn't quite right, I had not yet made amends with my little boy. In me, now as this 74-year-old adult, coming to him and saying, I love you completely. I hold you in my heart with such tenderness, okay? If you haven't done that with your little child, then it's time, all right? Whoever can be available to help facilitate that for you. So I bring my little boy with me here today, who is nearer to heaven than anything else about me. Are you with me on that? Okay. I want to tell a story that came to me here several weeks ago, a memory of my first church. How many have been to Savannah, Georgia? Yeah, oh, I got a woo. That is one cool place, by the way, Savannah, Georgia. I was the Unity minister there at Unity Church of Savannah in 1987, 88, 89, 90. In my first month there, I met a woman, and you all have had this kind of experience in which you meet someone for the first time. By the way, thank you for your music. It's just wonderful, truly wonderful. And I just knew there was something about her. I wanted to get to know her better. Her name is Jessie Gillum. She was born and raised in Savannah, had been a school teacher her whole working life, this beautiful African-American woman. And I came to find out very soon after meeting her that she had a life-threatening illness. That's why she had to retire early. And as a few days and weeks passed, then it became evident that this disease was going to take her life. I went to visit her at her home several times. And they had a bed set up in a room separate from her bedroom. But the last time that I was there, I came in and sat down as I had done before. And I looked at her, and something was different, and I immediately recognized it. She was no longer looking at me. She was gazing into me. Gazing into me. Have you had this experience? Gazing into me in a way that so captured me that I was stunned. And then I realized, it came to me in that moment, as she was gazing into me, that, and she could barely speak, she was asking me to do the same for her, to gaze into her. So often in life, we don't do this. We don't really see one another and have the direct experience of the depth and breadth and truth of what we are. And on that day, in that moment, I experienced that. So this went on, her gazing into me, and I gazing into her. And then eventually I could see, she's trying to speak, which is very difficult for her. And she said, the words came out, I love you. I really felt like I was, in some way, being here today. I was anchored in an electromagnetic force field of love and energy and presence. That was literally what happened to me. And here, that was 37 years ago. And I am so present to it right now. And hopefully, the gift of Jessie Gillum from Savannah, Georgia, with the big, beautiful brown eyes that I'll never forget, that she lives through all of us here today. One person in one moment can make a huge difference in our life. There is a presence in us that is, and it was so exemplified there. There's a presence in all of us. There's no exceptions here. There's a presence in all of us that is so powerful, so beautiful, so ancient. I have the sense that long ago, the people of this earth remembered who they truly are. It has been said that our ancient ancestors entered a state of forgetfulness and longed for a deep connection with their core self and a deep connection with the world around them. And that includes all of us here. I have a deep commitment to connect with all of you here today. That is why I am here. This is why I've taken birth. So today is dedicated to remembering, for each and every one of you here, remembering who you are and why you, a one and only, have taken birth. Are you with me? There's an affirmation I'd like to bring to you today in this spirit. I'm going to say it to you here, and I'm going to ask you to close your eyes while I say it. And just take this in. Now, I'm going to ask you to get centered, as was brought forward through the music and other ways here today. I want you to get centered in your heart, just for a few moments here. Right here, anchored right here in the center of your chest, where your core, true, deep self lives. And hear these words from your heart. I am forever a wave of love light in service to our precious world. I'll remind you of that here a bit later. How many here are familiar with James Baldwin? James Baldwin. Oh, good. Sometimes I go to Unity Church, they'll say, James Baldwin. One person raise their hand. I'll forget we're in Boulder. Okay, that's good. If you don't know, he was a 20th century African-American writer and civil rights activist. He wrote, and this is, my theme here today is mirroring each other's light. I got this from James Baldwin. He wrote, the longer I live, the more deeply I learn that love, whether we call it friendship or family or romance, is the work of mirroring each other's light. Life-saving, I skipped a line here, gentle work. Gentle work. I got that from Jesse that day. Very gentle but powerful. Gentle work, steadfast work, life-saving work. In those moments when shame and sorrow occlude or block our own light from view. But there is still a clear-eyed, loving person to beam it back. A clear-eyed, loving person to beam it back. In our best moments, we are that person for one another. I have to say, when I first read this, it wasn't that long ago, just several months ago, I was just, there's so much truth, so much beauty, so much wisdom, so much power in what he's sharing here. I hope you feel that with me today. Each one of us here are the embodied receptacles of this love. This is what we are, who we are, this divine love in us. How often do you hear this in Unity? This divine love that is not sourced from this world, but is readily available in every moment, in every cell of your body, in every way that you express yourself in this world. It breathes through you. And this presence, this kind of love, naturally radiates light. That's why he put the two words together, love, light. That was what I experienced with Jesse Gillum from Savannah, Georgia. Such a profound experience of love, and what came from that was a light that was so bright, and she was a day or two from passing over. Light. When I stand in here, in this space, this is so rare. I've never been in another space like this at any church anywhere, and I grew up in the Methodist church, and I had to go every Sunday, okay? Literally, every Sunday, twice a Sunday. I've been in lots of churches, okay? This radiance is the nature of life itself. And what we have here is this beautiful, what you might say, how did I describe it here? A natural grand mirror you're looking into all the time as you sit out there. Huh, really? Wow. I know the person who was the architect who designed this building, Steve. And wow, Steve, we love you, okay? Now, you're looking into this mirror, this beauty. We are designed to live this vibrational frequency of this radiance. Couldn't get it out there. You are the light of the world at it, and that is no joke. No joke. I'm not the first person to ever say that. You are the light of the world. Now, if I were in an African American church, like Jesse Gillum used to go to, they'd be standing and shouting about now. Okay? Amen. Amen. Yeah. All right. You know, this whole idea of light and its power to change your life and to change our world and change a community, change a marriage, whatever it is. Heal a small boy who didn't get his basic needs met. This is so outrageously articulated by Dr. Rachel Naomi Remen. Some of you know of her, I'm sure. When she tells the ancient story behind the Jewish ethical imperative to repair the world. Does this speak to you today? Do we need to repair the world? And she tells it as her Hasidic grandfather had told it to her. It goes like this. I love it how these heads move here. Like, hey, all right, where are you looking? Okay. In the beginning of creation, the light of the universe. Can you imagine somebody telling you this? Like you're a 7-year-old child and your grandfather comes over to you and tells you this. In the beginning of creation, the light of the universe was shattered into a million pieces, which lodged as shards. You're thinking, what's a shard, you know? Shards inside everything and everyone. Our calling is to look for the light from where we stand, to call it out, it's like what we're doing here today, to gather it up, and in so doing, to help repair the world. Just take that in. Okay. You know, in Hebrew, repair the world is tikkun olam. Tikkun olam. And in repairing the world, what happens? We then repair our own lives. And here's another example of how this works. Jacques Luceron. Who here knows of Jacques Luceron? It's somebody. In the first service, I asked for one hand to be raised. I was shocked. Nobody raised their hand. Now here there's 3. 1? Okay, 1, yay, all right. All right, out of the, I don't know how many people here, I'm looking around, I'll say 70, 80 people, I don't know. Jacques Luceron. He wrote an autobiography, and it's entitled, And There Was Light. It's still in my top 10 books of all time for me. I cannot get rid of that book. I highly recommend it. Let me tell you just a little bit of his story. He was born and raised in France in the 1920s. At age 7, there was an accident, and he was blinded for life. Now, just fast forwarding, when Jacques was 17, he was one of the key people involved in the French resistance movement against the Nazis in France. And in his autobiography, you really have to listen closely because he's talking about something that's powerful spiritual medicine here, about how to be in relationship with one another. And again, this is someone physically blind. And it goes like this. I was looking too far off. Now, just even in how we look at one another and connect. I was looking too far off and too much on the surface of things. I began to look more closely. Not at things, but at a world closer to myself. Hey, a world closer to myself. Looking from an inner place to one further within. I mean, this describes spiritual practice, meditation. But he's talking about something a little different here. Then he goes on to write, I was aware of a radiance emanating from a place I knew nothing about. Okay. But radiance was there. Or to put it more precisely, light. It was a fact. He's blind, and he's saying it was a fact, light was there. In his inner world, these were things he was seeing. At 8, I had the sense that I was being reborn because this was happening in him. It was not I who was making the light. It would never leave me. I was only now this is for all of us here, when it comes to our own light. I was only a passageway, a vestibule for this brightness. The seeing eye was in me. Whew. In other words, the truth of what I am, the truth of who you are, the light that can never go out in you is the truth of who you truly are. I would be remiss if I didn't mention here Yeshua. Now, better known, it's the anglicized version, Jesus. Yeshua, and again in Aramaic, his spoken language, Yeshua, Bar Alaha. Jesus, Son of the One. He did say at one point, and it's recorded in the 5th chapter of Matthew, you are the light of the world. A city set on a hill cannot be hid. No one, after lighting a lamp, puts it under a bushel basket, but on a lampstand, and it gives light to all in the house. There are no exclusions here. Everyone has within them the embodiment of this divine light. Would you agree? Even Donald Trump, I say it out loud, whomever is your perceived enemy, there is still light there. I've learned that over and over and over and over again. This reminds me again, I am forever a wave of love light, a service to our precious world, to everyone. Mirabai Starr. She's a author and teacher, college professor. She wrote a book called Ordinary Mysticism. Anybody here read that book? Ordinary Mysticism. So there's a handful of people here. It's a really great read to really understand the nature of what I'm talking about here. She writes in that book, very briefly, become a clear window. Okay? Become a clear window through which love light could pass. Oh, become a clear window. She goes on to write, each of us wants to encounter what is real and true. Who does not right now, here and now, in this world, in this country, in this space, in this place, want to encounter what is real and true? You absolutely want to encounter what is real and true. This is what our world is hankering for, yearning for, calling for. So you keep showing up here. You keep showing up here, whether you're conscious or unconscious, okay? Just keep showing up. Because in your deepest heart of hearts, in the core of what you are, the deep truth about you, you long to be a clear window through which this love light could pass. I have no doubt about that. This is, again, the teaching that has come down through just everyday people that have showed me the way. Hafiz, this is sort of a juxtaposition here. Hafiz, the 14th century Persian mystic. Wow, 14th century, that was a long time ago. He wrote, and I love this, how it begins. Okay? This is a translation from Persian. Admit something. Who starts off anything with those two words? Admit something. Okay. Everyone you see, say to them, love me. Of course, you do not do this out loud. Otherwise, someone would call the cops. I love this. What in the 1300s there? I love how this translator put this together. Call the cops. All right. All right, back to where we were here. Of course, you do not say this out loud, do this out loud. Otherwise, someone would call the cops. Still, though, think about this. This great pull in us to connect. Why not become, wow, only Hafiz could come up with this. Why not become the one who lives with a full moon in each eye that is always saying with that sweet moon language what every other eye in this world is dying to hear? And what is every other eye in this world dying to hear? Well done. Hallelujah. Now I'm going to close here with, I know I'm quoting a lot here. This usually doesn't happen, but this is just the way this turned out. Michael Meade, some of you here know Michael Meade. He's one of my favorite people in the world. He's just a great teacher of universal truth with just this broad depth of knowledge about the various traditions, both current and ancient, in the world. The great myths that inform our lives. And Michael, in a recent podcast, which by the way is called Living Myth, I recommend it highly. In a recent podcast, he said, when the world is rattling and wobbly, one good thing about the rattling of the world is that there is an acceleration of calling. You get that? Yes. Whenever the world seems fine, institutions are stable, it's easy to forget that we are not here to survive, right? But we are here to bring heaven down to earth. I know that's not the first time you've heard this, hopefully, in a Unity church. This is our calling, awakening, switching on the light in one's soul and body. There you have it. This is what we're called to do today, and ask for all the support we need in giving birth, rebirthing our true core self. That true core self that came into this world as the embodiment of unconditional love. This is why we have taken birth. I would ask you again to share something that you received today in this service, to share it with someone else. Pass this on. This is how we change the world. Thank you for having me here today. It's my honor and a gift to me. Thank you.